Hello everyone, welcome in Genshin crew. Today we're going to check out those new banners that just got released for the characters, and we'll talk about the weapon banner too, so let's get to it. Okay, so Chasca, the new Animo DPS unit. Now, I'll put some footage on the screen here just to show you all. She likes to do some cool like new Jalonen thing to where she will take elements of whatever characters and whatever elements that you have on the team. She'll pop those in her little charge attack and her ultimate, and she will do that kind of damage mixed in with her animo damage. I haven't seen the numbers, so we're not sure officially where she stands on how effective that's going to be. And I've heard there's a small bit of randomization in terms of where those elements stack in terms of that bullet structure, which again I'll show on the screen here. So all in all though, she looks like she's going to be a very fun unit, and I think people are going to have a great time, especially with that exploration. If she's scooting around on what that jet rider thing is, super cool looking. Aesthetically, she's a gorgeous character. I think if you're in the market for an animo damage DPS that kind of switches things up from what might a typical Animo DPS user might do. Now, she still swirls. There aren't any other Animo characters that directly do the damage alongside swirl, right? They typically just swirl. I think she is aesthetically pleasing character, and I think her gameplay is going to be really fun. Now, just like her, this other new character, Ororon, now he likes electro charge teams. So he is an off-field electro DPS, and his Q ability is a taunt, which is pretty cool. Now, we haven't gotten much love for electro charge teams in the past. I feel like it's kind of a dying art. There's been so much buffing towards Dendro style comps, towards vaporized teams. Electro charged, supercharged kind of got pushed to the back burner. Now they are buffing the element reactions in one of the latest patch notes for Genshin. So we'll see what that does for him. 4-star off-field DPS is a little weird. So we will have to see how the numbers do. However, a taunt off-field electro, the area is pretty big. That could set the way for some cool electro charge teams. As we look in the character archon here, as we look in the element character archive, sorted by elements. There we go. Say that 5 times fast. There you go, Jalonen. Thank you. Lisa has a great kit for off-field electro damage. Now, she's not a DPS. Well, she kind of can be, but she's mostly used for off-field support, and especially for Dendro style teams and for physical teams if you want to have some fun with Eula. So he's kind of in a niche with Fischl and Lisa. Well, and Yaimiko too. So Kuki does off-field DPS, Kuki does off-field electro application, but it's more for the application, and she does healing. So, but Raiden has her own way of adding electro off-field. So this is going to be a tough, now that I'm looking through these characters, this is going to be a tough field to get something going. So we will see what happens. I think aesthetically he's very cool, and I've heard lore-wise he's very fun and very goofy. And if he's good enough to make a team, I'd love to play him on an electro charge team. Those are the 2 new units. So we'll talk about Lyney next here. Lyney, the 5-star bow user. Okay. Oh, I didn't say. Of course, I should specify. Chasca is also a bow user. This bow user, Lyney, he's known for his mono pyro teams. Okay, so if that's something that sounds cool to you, go for him. I've heard his vaporized numbers are not good, and his kit specifically, he's designed for mono pyro teams. Now, as long as you like that, his aesthetic, he's cool. He's a magician. If you like his story, then by all means pull for him. His damage is really good for a mono pyro team. Now, moving on. Let's talk about these. Let's talk about the other two 4 stars. Okay. Let's talk about Barbara and let's talk about Sucrose. So, Barbara is kind of a meme character. However, especially early game, she is very usable. Now, she scales off of HP, as a lot of our Hydro units do. She's very free to play in terms of building, especially if you're a new player. Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers is a 3-star that you can refine, and you pull it pretty easily, and it's her best weapon for her. She does something that not many characters do in Genshin. If you can get her to her C6, she fully restores a revived character all the way up to 100%, which there's only, I'm pretty sure the only one that does that is Chi-Chi, and you have to have her C6. Like, that's pretty cool. So, in terms of quality of the character, you gotta be super desperate to pull for this character, specifically on the banner. Now, if you're a super free-to-play account, or you just want to have some fun with her, you like her style, you like her aesthetic, you like her cuteness, then she's fine as a Hydro. I know. She's fine as a Hydro applicator, and she does do some healing. Now, you'll want her on typically either the 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam, which is rough to farm because it's in the same domain as the defense. What is it? Ito's. Oh, hold on. I know this. Husk. It's in the same domain with the Husk artifacts. Husk of Opulent Dreams, which are the defense sets that only are used by defense characters. So grinding it is rough. If you don't want to grind it, which I recommend not to unless you really want those pieces, you can run her on Maiden Beloved, and you can also run her on like 2 pieces stuff as well. Tenacity and Millilith. So you could do Tenacity and Millilith 2-piece with 2-piece Ocean Clam, or 2-piece Maiden Beloved, or even a 2-piece Hydro set. I mean, it's build her if you want to, but she's kind of a meme. And I did use her in the beginning because I did not have any good... Alright, thank you, Barbara. Because I really didn't have any good Hydro applicators. So I did use her for a while. In terms of constellations for her, let's see, I wrote it down. If you have her and, like, you know, C2 decreases the cooldown of her E, and your active character gains a 50% Hydro damage bonus. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to try really, really hard for. But if you get it, cool. And, of course, like I said, her C6 will literally bring someone back from the dead, which people have used in the Spiral Abyss. Now, Sucrose. Sucrose is crazy good. I think she gets passed up because she's not as flashy as Kazuha, but this unit is crazy good. Look at me. She's crazy good for any account. Freshly starting off, even a veteran account. I have used her, I think it was 3 Spiral Abysses ago, and she helped me clear it with ease. It was crazy. Her grouping is insane. Her elemental swirl output is insane. All right, let's go find some enemies, shall we? Okay, and Barbara, this is her application. She will heal. See, she's got heals every time she shoots. All right, now for Sucrose.
Animo test 6308.
I got careless.
I'll protect us. Enhanced Animo module 75.
There we go. We'll swirl it, and now everything that's swirled.
Wings of darkness. Come, sever
Excuse me.
Absorption test.
And that was an absolutely terrible showcase. That was a terrible show. Oh, what? You want some? You want somebody?
Dance.
All right, so Sucrose is a Animo on-field, off-field swirl applicator. She helps you increase damage to a extremely high tier amount. She is not very free to play. you have to grind her Viridescent Venerer set, just probably like most, if not all, of the Anemo units that are in the game. However, the good thing is when you grind this domain, it's tied with the Maiden's Beloved. So like if you really wanted to, you know, there's some pieces for Barbara. However, there's so many Anemo units that need these pieces. It's not going to be a waste of resin to farm this over and over again, because you will constantly get better pieces and need them for all of the other Anemo units, not just Sucrose. The VV set is so good that you should run four-piece pieces for Sucrose instead of forcing some other builds, okay? So now she needs Elemental Mastery, Elemental Mastery, and Elemental Mastery. You can only see half of it, but it's there. And then as you can see, for the Flower and the Feather, you just get as much EM as possible. You get as much EM as possible. And this is 82. There's a lot of EM. It literally it rolled in the crit rate one time. So even for like a main DPS Sucrose, you only need EM and you need really good supports. You can basically run the national team instead of using Raiden, just use Sucrose, and it will be very strong. It will be insanely strong. You know what? We'll go to the Spiral Abyss and I'll show you. Some units have really good passives. Her passive, when Sucrose triggers a swirl reaction, all characters in the party with the matching element that is swirled have their EM increase by 50 for 8 seconds. And when the E or the Q hits an opponent, you increase all party members' EM by an amount of 20% of Sucrose's Elemental Mastery. I am currently sitting at 918. And that's with a Sacrificial Fragments R5. So she is made to boost your damage for hyper reaction teams. Her constellations we will go over, because her C1 gives her, I always mix the names up of the E and the Q, so I have it written down for me. It gives your E an additional charge. You saw when I fired her E, I had like 2 or 3 to do, so it gives you an additional charge, which is extremely useful. Her C2, this is the duration of the Forbidden Creation, which is her Q, is increased by 2 seconds. Very useful, insanely good grouping. Her C4 is a little weird, reduces the cooldown for every 7 normal or charged attacks. So like you won't notice that too much. So I also just wanted to say, like, C4 is kind of weird. And then her C6, if your Q triggers an elemental absorption, which is the swirl basically, party members gain a 20% elemental damage bonus for the corresponding absorbed element. So when you trigger the swirl, whatever the color is, that element has got a 20% damage boost. This character is crazy good. She is worth pulling for. She is worth pulling for. Especially if you're free to play or if you're just starting off, Sucrose is going to do you so much good. So tell you what, I will hop over to the Spiral Abyss real quick. I'll give you just a small demonstration, and then we'll talk about the weapon banner. Okay, cool. So let me show you her. Let's showcase her a smidge, shall we? Cue the awesome music, editor.
Let's have some fun, shall we? Witness the power of the one. Swirl, Mark 2, absorption test.
Let's do this then.
Stay clear. Animal test 60.
Let's light it up!
I'm the frog camp.
Know my sword! Everybody stand!
show you some of that. Because that girl can rock it. Okay, cool. So, I hope that helped you kind of decide whether you're going to pull for the banners or not. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull for Chasca or not. We'll see. I like hoarding... Oh, wrong button. I have really liked hoarding my wishes lately. Having this number up again feels really good. So we'll see what happens. I have a lot of fun with Jean and Sucrose and Kazuha. So I don't know if personally I'm going to pull for Chasca or not. We'll kind of weigh our options and then go from there. So let's talk about the weapon banner. All right. So we have Chasca's bow, Lyney's bow, and then we've got a couple new weapons, a really good returning one, a poop one, and an okay one. Just like always, I will warn you, the weapon banner is a scam. It's gotten much better because you only have to lose pity once, and you have a 66% chance of getting one of these 5 stars. Now you still have a 1/3 chance of getting one of the standard 5-star banners, which unfortunately most are not very good. With that being said, if you are determined to try to match Chasca with her bow, I'm going to pull it up for you and we'll talk about it. The Astral Vulture's Crimson Plumage. So 66.2% crit damage, base attack 608. Now in terms of what that looks like compared to other bows, so I have 3 5-star bows. Crit damage 88.2 with base attack 542. Now this one has base attack 608, but only the crit damage is 66.2. However, the effects, of course, are much different. The Amos bow. It is a attack percent bow and base attack 608. Most people will gladly pick a crit damage bow over a base attack bow because it makes building the characters much easier when your bow is carrying the weight of a lot of crit damage or a lot of crit rate. And then, of course, Skyward Harp, the classic. This has 674 base attack and 22.1% crit rate and increases crit damage by 20%. Like, I think people still sleep on this bow because it was like the very first bow to come out. This bow is crazy good, dude. 22.1% crit rate is awesome. Now, of course, it's so good that I leveled up 2 of them because I want Fischl and Yoimiya both to have a decent weapon. So that's just some comparison for the ones that I have. For 12 seconds after triggering a swirl reaction, which is all she does, her attack increases by 24%. That's pretty good. That's a lot of attack. In addition, when 1/2 or more of the characters in the party are of different elemental type from the equipped character, so different from Anemo, the damage dealt by the equipped character's charged attack is increased by 20% and 48%. And elemental burst damage dealt is increased by 10% to 24%. This seems crazy good. This seems so good. Now, you have to have a charge shot character in order to really take leverage on this passive. So, Tighnari, Ganyu, let me see if I'm missing anyone here. Tighnari, Ganyu, and then those are the ones that I have. Could Lyney? I don't think Lyney wants to use this because he doesn't get the attack percent bonus. Yeah, no, Lyney definitely does not want this bow. Yeah, there aren't many characters that will really utilize this to the fullest. The damage. Okay, cool. So if you're charge attacking, especially with multiple elemental type characters on your team, this is going to send your attack percent through the roof. This seems incredibly strong. Now, I'm assuming the 20% to 48% are refinements. So it starts at 20% and 10% to a max of 48%, 24%. So the weapon's beautiful. It matches Chasca perfectly. And it's insanely good. From my understanding here. This seems like a really good passive as long as you like having multiple different elemental types. Let's talk about The other 5-star, the first great magic bow, 66.2% and base attack 608. Same base stats as the Crimson Plumage. Damage dealt by charge attacks increased by 16%. Good. For every party member with the same elemental type as the wielder, you get 1 stack. For every party with different elemental type, you gain 1 theatric stack. When the wielder has 1, 2, 3 or more gimmick stacks, attack will be increased by 16, 32, or 48%. When the wielder has 1, 2, or 3 theatric stacks, movement speed is increased. Okay, so this is obviously not as good unless you want a strictly mono team with a charge shot dealer. I think so. Like as a stat stick, it's fine. If you want to throw it on someone, if this is your only 5-star bow, it will do a character proud. However, if you're not using Lyney, Tanara needs Dendro reactions, not just Dendro. Ganyu is good, but you wouldn't run Ganyu on a mono cryo team. So if you want to try for this, I would feel bad if I got this bow, because I wouldn't be able to use it. Out of all my characters, like I said, if you want to throw it on a stat stick for someone, it's okay, but you're going to waste a lot of weapon potential not utilizing it for a mono team. It's definitely not the best. In a perfect world, you would not get Lenny's bow if you're trying for Chasca's weapon. So, Chasca's bow is really good, but it might not be worth it when some of you will lose and get the first great magic. Unless you just want a 5-star bow stat stick. Cool. So let's talk about these 4-stars. We have 2 new 4-star weapons. The Flower Withered Feathers bow and the Wave Riding Catalyst. So this bow basically is another one that you can use. Basically, this bow is another one you can use for Chasca. So it decreases your gliding stamina by 50%. That's cool. That's fine. When using aimed shots, the damage dealt by the charge attacks is increased by 6% every 5 seconds. The effect can stack up to 6 times and will be removed 10 seconds after leaving aimed mode. Okay, cool. So you can stack it up to, 6 times 6, 36. So you can stack it up to giving yourself a 36% damage increase for specifically charged attacks. Honestly, this isn't too bad to just maybe wish on the weapon banner. If you're going to try to pull, if you're desperate, the charge attack damage is nice. However, it is much more difficult to build a good character when they don't have a crit rate or crit damage substat. This is attack percent. So, which is good because we need attack percent for those, for those charged attacks, but you need crit rate in order to get the better number for the charged attacks. So you will have to have some good artifacts on some characters in order to take use of this bow and it not extremely affect the damage output when you don't crit. But it's very pretty. Now the catalyst here, the catalyst is good. Like Wave Riding Whirl. So this says increases max HP. So we have energy recharge, which is a very good, like do not underestimate energy recharge on any weapon for sure. So decreases swimming stamina consumption by 50%. Woo. In addition, for 10 seconds after using an elemental skill, your max HP is increased by 20%. Your max HP is increased after using an elemental skill. Okay, cool. All right. For every hydro elemental type character in the party, the max HP is increased by another 12%, and the maximum increase can be achieved is 24%. Can be triggered once every 15 seconds. This feels like it's a good catalyst. Energy recharge is very useful and needed. And in terms of our hydro units, we have Mulani. I almost said Multani again because gosh darn it, I'm a Magic player. Mulani, her burst is expensive. Having a catalyst that, thank you. I've never seen this before. This is super cute. Heavy and Catalyst, that'll give you energy recharge and additional HP, and her damage scales off of HP is really good. We have Nouvelette, again, scales off of HP. Energy recharge for his burst if you want to use it, but he's mostly for charged attacks, I feel like, for most people. But definitely usable. I don't know how much better or worse it is compared to the prototype Amber, because he wants HP. However, if you don't have any of those mats and you just happen to have this, it probably wouldn't be bad. So, but I'm not a theory crafter, I'm not a number crafter, okay? So I'm just giving you my 2 cents. And Kokomi actually could probably use this too. Now again, she wants an HP weapon, or like Thrilling Tales. But she could use this as well if you just wanted to have a different weapon to put on a unit. That way you don't have to keep switching weapons all the time for your different characters. So that one seems like it's going to be usable. Alright, so we have those two. Now behind us we have the Flute, Favonius Lance, and the Bell. The Bell is a meme. It's a joke weapon. It's defense scaling. If you want to throw it on Noelle or Jinyan, like, you know, it's fine. But I don't even think you should. I don't even think you should. You should have more self-respect, and just don't even bother building the Bell. Favonius Lance, one of the best lances in the game for new and veteran players, without a question. It is one of the most sought-after weapons for most of our polearm users because of its versatility, its energy generation that you can transfer. Since you get colorless particles, you can transfer those to whatever unit you want. The Favonius weapons are insanely powerful, especially if you're free to play or if you're just starting off. The Flute is fine. It's a attack percent scaling sword. It's really not too worth it. I mean, if you're super free to play and you don't have any options, then it's okay. I haven't even built it yet. It has some kind of weird, it's got like a weird effect where you can like, yeah, I'm not even sure if I've R5'd one. No, but I've got a plenty locked here. Normal or charge attacks grant a harmonic on hits. Gaining 5 harmonics triggers the power music and deals 100% attack damage to surrounding opponents. It lasts up to 30 seconds and a maximum of 1 can be gained every 0.5 seconds. It's just like, it's cute, it's fine, but you probably have... I hope you have better options. If you don't, then, you know, you have to do what you have to do it. Alright. I think that's everything. This is going to be a longer video today because we've talked about new characters, talked about new weapons. Whew, a lot of talking. A lot of talking. Oh, it's going to be an event weapon too. Here, I'll pull that up real quick. This is going to be an event weapon that comes out in 5.2, and people are talking about. Uh-oh. I got some buffering here. Got some buffering. Hold on. Bring him out. Bring him out. Come back, baby. Come back. Calamity of Ishu. People are talking about because. Now, it is an attack percent sword, so just like I said about any of the other attack percent weapons, they are more difficult to build a much more rounded character. However, while the characters are protected by a shield, okay, damage dealt for normal and charged attack is increased by 20%, and normal and charged attack crit rate is increased by 8%. Do not underestimate a little bit extra crit rate for sure. So people are saying this is a great budget weapon for basically a lot of the elemental type sword users. Chlorand was mentioned. Kamisato Ayato was mentioned. So just keep an eye out. Do the event. Make sure you get this sword. Better to have it and not need it than wish you'd have done it. Whew. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed this. You can let me know in the comments down below your thoughts if I missed something, or if you think I got something wrong. You are more than welcome to tell me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing more Genshin content. It's been doing well on the channel, and I love doing it, so it's a win-win for us. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I'll cut this down as much as I can, and yeah, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Have a great day.